What's up, guys? This is Kyle from TCGU, bringing you the first in a series of new videos, deck profiles, that we're going to call Best of the Worst. Concept of these profiles, we're going to take B tier and lower decks that don't really get much of a limelight, and specifically are decent budget options for those specific sets for you to play and take to a regional, maybe your locals, whatever, and be able to have a good time and feel at least somewhat competitive, at least as much as you can with those sets. Some of these are sets that I would say you could take to a regional and do well with. Some of these are sets that you might want to just stick with a casual tabletop game. It just depends on what it is. So for today, we are going to start off with Batman Ninja, one of my personal favorite sets. It was an English exclusive when it came out. Stirred up a lot of controversy because this set was the reason why we got a limited list, which I'll explain later in the video why, because I'm running a couple of the cards. Yeah. We'll get into the video in just a moment. Alright, guys, so we're going to jump into the deck profile. Rex is here, too, to be the voice of the good people. He doesn't know this deck, so if there's something that he doesn't understand, he's going to go ahead and comment on it. So we're going to jump right into Batman Ninja. So the main card of this deck, and your main level 1 combo, is going to be this amazing trial deck card. It is, to my knowledge, the only kind of card of its kind. This is your setup combo. It's draw 2, ditch 1 on reverse, which is cool, and it gets big. And it combos with a book, which is really cool. Plussing trigger, always strong. To support it, to help make it bigger so you can defend it on your turn, you're going to run 2 of these Alfreds. For the folks that know what these are, Asana Married Life, that's what it is. It gives an assist and has a combo with anything for an extra 1,000 boost, which is pretty sweet. So that is there to support the card. Along with that, to defend this, because the goal is to keep this thing alive as long as possible, or not in your discard pile as long as possible, so that you can generate advantage and deny reverses from your opponent. That's kind of the goal of this deck, is you don't want decks to get reverses off against you at the level 1 game, right? And that's how this deck is played. So we're going to run 3 copies of this card. There is another version of this card in the set, but it's not as good. This is a 1500 vanilla backup. The reason why the version of the card in the set is not as good is because this one does not have the backup symbol, as you can see. This is the demo deck version, and the one in the set does have the backup symbol. So if you're playing against somebody that doesn't know or isn't paying attention or is just a noob, you can crush them with the might of them not knowing you have a backup.
So is the other backup that's available, is that one actually have a backup symbol, and it is a vanilla backup as well?
It's the exact same card, just with a backup symbol.
Color and everything?
Yep. It's the art, everything. Name, it's the same card. The one in the set has a backup symbol. The one in the demo deck doesn't.
Fair enough.
It was a misprint in the demo deck. Cool. And here is the heart and soul of the deck. This is what gives it its amazing matchup. This busted ass army card. So it's an army card, so you can run as many as you want. The main thing that this does is it helps with your deny reversal game. There are a lot of decks in this meta that that get really big, like too big even for Batman with double assist and the 1500 backup to defend against. So what do you do against those decks? Well, what you do is you field these guys in the back row, sometimes in the front row, depending on strategy. What these guys let you do is you can pay 1 and sack themselves off the board and bounce any character with Batman in its name to your hand. So you can use these to deny, when the Batman is frontal attacked, you can do that. So you can use these to deny reverses. This deck actually has a pretty cool matchup against AOT, because if you set up right, they're not reversing anything, and that's kind of brutal against AOT. It's really cool.
Most would really get 1.
I mean, they might get like I can do it a couple of different ways. I can field 2 and bounce 2 Batman, or I can do it a different way using a tech card that I'll show later. But just understand, these 9 cards are like the heart and soul of the deck. This is what the deck wants to play. So next up, another awesome demo deck card. This is, so oddly enough, there is a limited list in the English format. And this card is on it. What does this card do, and why does it deserve to be on a limited list? It's on a pick 2 of 1, so you can run this card or the other card on the list. This is an on-play heal. 3/2.
Broken.
And it's 10,000 power. And that is literally all it does. That is the only ability on it.
It's better than a majority of the level 3s in the game right
now. You run this card because you're not running the other card. There wasn't enough room in the Zero game for Gorilla Grodd, which is the card that you can't run. For those of you who don't know, Gorilla Grodd and this card are on a pick 2 list with each other because it was a misprint error in the demo decks. They printed this card with the same name as a level 1 in the set, and that level 1 is not broken at all. Not that this is, but its interaction with Grodd is broken. So that level 1 and this one have the same name. Gorilla Grodd says pay 1, bounce him to your hand when he's attacked, and you get to put out the level 1 from your hand. Well, since this has the same name as the level 1, you can put out the level 3 from your hand with this. So this is on a pick 2 list with Grodd and itself, so that you can't run both in the deck and do that broken shit.
The main reason why you ran this healer than the other healers because you just get the Batman trait and that's it, right?
Yeah, I run this card in the deck instead of more of the early play or the Catwoman healer because it interacts with this card. It's got the Batman name, so if I need to do some heal looping and stuff, I can bounce this Batman to my hand, so I don't have to work super hard to get it back. So that's the reason why I just run. It's a 2 of. It's cool. I like the card actually a lot in this deck. Cool. So next up, to help support the idea of we're not letting our opponent get reverses off, is this 1/1. Most level 1 combos are going to be on 0 cost cards, and most decks are going to be running only 0 cost cards at level 1. Most decks. And a lot of decks don't run costed cards at level 2. They just purely run early plays, right? This card says it cannot be reversed by any character with a cost, right? So it allows me to help deny reverses. So in games where I match up against Attack on Titan, I can field 2 of these guys and one Batman onto the board. And then 1 copy of this guy, and I can have my other thing be like my Brainstorm or whatever. And then these 2 won't get reversed by AOT. And this Batman, I can trigger the clan, the 1 clan for 1 stock, sack the clan, and bounce the Batman to my hand, allowing me to effectively deny reverse in all 3 lanes at a very effective cost, allowing me to keep hand and also just demolishing decks that rely on reverses to set up their game. It's very brutal against different decks when you set this up, so it's really, really cool. This whole deck is just basically bounce crap to my hand and stop them from reversing the deck, and it's incredible for that reason. And you're doing all this in order to put your opponent behind because you don't have the strongest finisher in the game. This is a good finisher, but it's not like a crazy finisher. You run 4 copies of this Batman. It's the best finisher in the set. Well, for heroes. It's the best finisher in the set for heroes. Combos with a pants trigger. It's a restander. A non-reversal restander that restands after the attack. It's very, very good. And to support this finisher and help you get it into your hand, you're going to run 2 copies of this Alfred. This is probably the MVP of the endgame. This card, I've played it in every version of Heroes that I've ever played. This Alfred is the most broken card in the set. What it does is it discard bonds for the Batman, so you can get this guy to your hand really easily, and then you can tap for 2,000 power and hexproof, which is incredible. Very, very strong card. So that's kind of the end game engine. Nice little 10 card engine. Cool. And now the next card. So those are kind of the core staples of the deck. So now we're going to move on to kind of setup cards and little tech cards that I run. So first up, this is, a lot of people will consider this to be one of the best cards in the set as well. This is the Ricky, pay 1, clock 1, salvage. Ricky, and on play it mills 2, so it allows me to mill and get through my deck, helps compress a little bit, and it grabs any weapon character. So every character in this deck is weapon. It can grab every character in this deck, which is really strong for a Ricky. It's probably one of the best Ricky profiles ever printed. Very strong. So 4 copies of that to help with the consistency of the deck. 3 copies of your tap self Brainstorm. It's a salvage Brainstorm. It's the Bang Dream. It's the Bang Dream Red Brainstorm profile. Very strong. You run 3 of it. Next up, so this card, I actually don't have the card I would run in its place. This is the second best level 0 beater. There is a runner in the set, but personally, I am a fan of beaters right now because you want to be able to kill Goblin Slayer's 3K. And 3Ks really are oversizes nowadays, so anything that gets 3/5 or 4K is really strong. What this card does is on play you get to look at the top 2 cards of your opponent's deck and put them back in the same order, so you get free information off of your opponent's deck, and it's a standalone 4K beater. The other one that I would run is the Catwoman promo. When you put it on the board, you reveal top. If it's a weapon character, you get to place that weapon character underneath the Catwoman as a marker, and then it gets power and a level, which is really, really strong. So yeah, this 4K beater, basically to help with board presence at level 0. And now for a couple of tech cards, we have this 1/0. This is mostly for the hand filter, but it's also a Slayer. On play, it gets power, and it has discard a climax on reverse. It gets 1,000 power and on reverse draw. It just helps you filter through your hand, and it can murder things when you need it to. Very strong little Catwoman. 2 copies of this bomb. It's a bottom deck bomb. Non-reversal bombs are really broken right now against a lot of sets, so I like to have at least 2 in most profiles right now. Our early play, this isn't anything special. It's a non-existent condition early play, as I like to put it. 4 more characters on the board, it early plays. If you're playing the game, it gets 1,000 power. It gets 1,000 power if all your characters are weapon. If you're playing Batman Ninja Heroes, all your characters are weapon. So it's a 10k healer, but it comes out a turn early. Pretty cool. And then the last card that I run, 1 copy of the anti-change counter. It's a ditch 2 anti-change counter. In this meta, you have to run anti-change counters. Between Slayer and the fact that basically every deck nowadays runs an early play, and Love Live is also a threat that runs a lot of early plays. Like, you just kind of have to run it. Especially because it basically acts as an anti-damage counter when you play it against early plays. So yeah, that's the profile, guys. Basically the run through real quick again. Basically the whole idea is we're just gonna use BatClan and the backup and the boosts and all kinds of stuff to make this guy deny your opponent their entire level 1 game if they're running any reverse combos, and to help you keep card advantage. Very, very strong. It's a very, very cool way to play. And actually really effective. This deck is, in my opinion, low B tier. A lot of people will rate it as C tier. In my opinion, low B tier, though. Very, very powerful. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. If you liked the video, please comment, like, and subscribe to the channel. We'll have links to our Discord and Patreon down below if y'all want to support us there. Thanks for watching. Have a good day, guys.